Hey everyone, today I'm sharing my journaling journey, a collection of over 14,000 digitized entries spanning over 23 years, totaling almost 21 million words. I initially wrote about family life, which grew into 22 journal categories. Over the years, my journaling frequency has ebbed and flowed, but the amount of content was always overwhelming, until now. By digitizing and using data tools, I can finally visualize my journals and unlock deeper insights. What would you want to learn from your own journals? Tag along as I take a deep dive into mine. Okay, so what have I done? All right, let me show you what I've been up to. See here, I use this app to browse my digitized journal entries. Up here is a tally of the total number of journal entries and the total word count. Below that is a listing of the journal entries, each one opening up in a document viewer. I started out journaling about my kids, then it grew from there. One of my very first entries was me describing my new handheld voice recorder, which for the year 2001 was quite the nifty gadget. I started out recording my kids' voices. Their babbling and cooing, you know. I'd also record my lullabies, like this one. And here's another one. Of course, this only gives the words. I have to refer to the original audio file to hear my singing, for better or for worse. Oh, and here's another. One immediate benefit of digitizing my journals and indexing them is that it makes it easier to search my audio journals. It evolved from there, with me ultimately writing in 22 journal categories along the way. Here are all the journal categories I've used. This is not quite all my journals. I still have some from prior years that I need to dig up and digitize, but this shows the last just under 24 years worth. The total word count is a bit under 21 million words. I'll probably go over the 21 million word mark early next year. Just looking at last month only, it has over 161,000 words, over 114 entries. So, yeah, like I had a lot to talk about last month. I've digitized 14,141 entries over the years, which comes to roughly 1.6 entries per day, almost 50 times per month. That's more than once a day. That does not tell the full story because my journaling frequency waxed and waned over the years. To get at that, I'll open this Python notebook. For those of you who aren't familiar with these, this is where I can calculate more detailed stats that I haven't put into the web app yet. Don't worry, I won't be diving into the weeds much here. Just to show a few visuals. I'll try to make this quick and just to give you a sense of where I'm coming from in my journaling journey. See here under aggregate statistics over entire corpus, it turns out that I journaled on 58% of the days over this almost 24-year time span. Scrolling down to aggregate statistics on a yearly basis, the total number of entries per year started out fairly modest over the first 5 years, where it hovered around 200. Then, around 2006, it doubled. That was an eventful time. Then, in 2009, it doubled again. This next chart is average number of entries per day per year. This shows how often I journaled on those days where I did create an entry. It shows a similar ebb and flow in my journaling frequency. Next up is the average number of monthly entries per year. Over the first 12 months, I had 81 entries, which is about 6.8 entries per month, or about once every 4 days. Then, in 2002, I had 19 entries per month, still less than one per day. 2003 saw still only about 23 entries per month. That dipped down below 15 in 2004 and 2005. But then, in 2006, this jumps, showing another jump 3 years later. Much of that is attributable to a shift in journaling habits, some of which is because I found ways to make it more convenient, some of which is because I had more to talk about. The past several years shows a sharp increase, but there again, much of that is because of how journaling became much more convenient for me to do while multitasking. The next chart, average monthly word count per year, shows the outcome in terms of word count. I have to admit I'm a bit astonished by this monthly word count. If I put myself into your shoes, I might consider myself to be a tad bit obsessed with this hobby. That said, I don't expect this to continue. I expect it will diminish over the near future, but all the more reason to use tools to process my journals. It's a lot. There's a lot there, way more than I can peruse just by browsing through them manually. Well, I've talked your ear off too much already. I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope this gives you an idea of what's possible if you digitize your journals. It allows you to search them, to measure your journaling frequency, and a whole host of other things. If there are analyses you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. What would you ask of your own journals? What insights would you be looking for? What would you most like to learn? If you've listened this far, thanks for staying with me. If you want to learn more about the app I showed, see the app demos playlist. Or if you're curious how to get started with generating digitized journals yourself, check out the Talk Journaling playlist. So much for now. See you next time.